lighthouse, shining in the darkness.
Okay, I'm sitting here with my friend Jerry Brunkhart, and wanted to talk about his story with his son Craig, and a little bit about the Lighthouse. But we were just talking. We first met how many years ago?
Well, it's probably been 6 or so, I suppose.
Sure.
It was when you're just getting this idea started.
Yeah, so we've been open for 7 years, so probably 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So met at his church through his pastor, and pretty quickly after that, you sent your son to one of the programs I was working at, and he did really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll let you pick up the story from there.
Well, he got into trouble with drugs, and so he needed help. He left home for 3 months or 4 months. We didn't know where he was at, and then finally found him, and he called me and wanted help. So I said, well, we got it. And he'd already known you, so I said, best thing we can do is get a hold of Brandon and see what we can do. And at that time, you were at the Salvation Army.
Yeah, so he came through Craig came through the Salvation Army and did really well.
Did really well for 7 months there, and went through the whole program, graduated, got a job, but just from him not being strong enough, I guess, he fell back into it and overdosed.
And when was that?
That was in 2017.
So prior to 2017, he was debating on coming to the Lighthouse, which was a step we encouraged him to do.
Yeah.
But he chose not to. He had a really good job, and it's just people don't realize you can die from one bad use, and I think that's what happened to Craig. He just dabbled back into it a little bit, and
I'm not sure if he had used more than once. I want to say no, but maybe that's my wishful thinking. But it just took one time though to make him overdose, and it was pure fentanyl that did it.
yeah.
So his chances were pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure. So, how are you and Sherry handling this? I know it's been a little bit. It's been a little bit of time, and time does seem to heal a little bit, but it's still a struggle every day. How are you and Sherry dealing with the loss of Craig still to this day?
Well, like it is. You never get over it. It's left a big hole in our life, and I do struggle with it every day, and I'm sure she does, but she doesn't let it out either. So it is a struggle, and there's not one day goes by that memories aren't brought up or wishful thinking. Well, if it would have been just this way or that way, But and in fact, there's still days that go by that I still look for him, maybe to even walk in the door, but I know I have to tell myself that's not going to happen, and it's painful that way.
Yeah, for sure. What would you tell another parent out there whose kids are struggling with addiction?
I would say that it's hard to deal with it because if you're uneducated about it, you don't know how to go about it, and I think that's the problem with most parents. Luckily, I had you to help me through things, but I would probably tell a parent never give up and try to hold their son or daughter to recovery more than just a one-time thing.
Sure. I would maybe even add, do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I remember a mom. She came to me and she had just called the police on her sons. They were making meth in the garage, and the police came and arrested her sons. And she was struggling with that phone call that she made, but she said, I don't want them to die, and I have to do whatever it takes. And I think that's an important part. And you and Sherry did. You did a lot for Craig, and the reality is, no matter how much we do, it's still someone's choice to use.
It is, exactly. It is their choice, and you can only do so much, but that doesn't mean you can't be a support person for them along the way.
Sure. Tell me how the church has come alongside you and Sherry and helped you since the overdose.
Well, they've really jumped in more religiously than, spiritually in that, because, they know what we went through. They knew Craig. Most of them all knew Craig and this, that, and the other. And so the power of prayer really worked out a lot there, and we depend on that. And everybody's been supportive and helped that way.
Sure. So I remember after the funeral, several people sent the Lighthouse donations in memory of Craig, and it seemed like you had a huge outpouring of support.
We didn't, yeah.
And I think that's great, and I think we need more of that. So if someone's struggling with their kids with addiction, struggling with grief and loss. Those are things that the Lighthouse can help with. We'd be more than happy to talk to you. And I think you and Sherry would even be willing to talk to people who are struggling with their kids.
Yeah, in fact, we've done it twice. We've been back twice at the Salvation Army because they put together a support thing up there for families who's been through addiction with their kids and have lost their kids, and put us all up in front of the church and we told our stories, and it seems to move the guys out in the audience, but you don't know until they prove it to themselves.
Sure. And our viewers might not know that our program, the Lighthouse, was designed as a complement to the Salvation Army program. Mm-hmm. We saw guys go through the program over and over again and relapse and just to come back in, and there was no second step. So our program at the Lighthouse was designed to be that second step to give guys a stable place to get back into society. And I'm sorry about your loss. Mm-hmm. We all loved Craig, and I think he's left a mark on a lot of lives.
Yeah, he has. It showed when he was at the funeral. We had over 400 people come to the funeral home for his service, which told me that he affected a lot of people in life. But
sure.
But then he got infected and ended it.
Yeah, and I do think that God is using Craig's story still to impact people's lives. So there's a small bit of comfort there.
Correct.
But it's hard.
It's hard.
So I challenge our audience to continue to pray for Jerry and Sherry as they're daily struggling. It's been how many years
It'll
now?
be 3 years in October.
3 years. I was thinking too. So 3 years in October. It's still a struggle. So pray for these folks, and thank you for being willing to share a little bit about Craig's story and your struggles. And I'm hopeful that it will help someone who's listening.
Well, that's what it's all about. You got to use your story to help somebody else.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jerry. If you want more information, please contact the Lighthouse at 260-255-6413.
Far before us, you're the